In order to win the lumberjack competition, Stan trained every single day, but on the day of the competition, he was evenly matched with Jeff, and the two ended in a tie. Both successfully made it to the finals, but Stan was worried he wouldn't be able to beat Jeff, so he went to Roger, wanting Roger to come up with a way for him to cheat. Roger then gave him a secret weapon and told Stan to secretly install it on Jeff's chainsaw. On the plane to the competition, Stan began his secret operation, but Stan's sneaky behavior was discovered by the flight attendant. Just like that, Stan caused irreversible damage to the entire plane. Steve was targeted by the bully. He wanted to escape, but
this is exciting.
The bully dragged Steve onto a Ferris wheel. Steve was too weak to hold onto the handrail and was thrown around. Suddenly, Steve fell out of the cabin. At this critical moment,
I got you!
The bully brought Steve back. He originally thought the bully would face the consequences, but to his surprise, everyone praised the bully for saving Steve.
Haley and Jeff eloped. When Stan found out, he was absolutely furious, and his first instinct was to stop Haley immediately. He quickly pulled up the tracking chip he had secretly planted on her, and soon, Stan pinpointed her exact location. He immediately drove off to stop their elopement, but when he arrived at the destination, he discovered
Where's Haley?
Must have ripped out her tracking device and fed it to one of these dogs.
Haley's trail went completely cold, but Stan refused to give up. He used his entire savings to put out a bounty. Anyone who could find Haley and stop the elopement would receive a $50,000 reward. As soon as people heard the news, they sprang into action and quickly tracked down Haley. In the end, Stan successfully stopped the elopement, snapping Haley out of her love-struck haze.
Stan thought Steve was too soft. To toughen him up, Stan decided to personally play the bully for some practical training, trying to force the fighting spirit out of his son. However, after his harsh lessons, Steve didn't learn to fight back at all. He just ended up getting beaten black and blue every day. Heartbroken for her son, Francine was furious when she found out and decided to teach him how to counterattack herself. But during the training, she realized that Steve couldn't even throw a simple punch. Seeing that he was a total lost cause, Francine just left Steve to fend for himself. Stan never shared his interesting stories, which drove Francine absolutely crazy. To pry her husband's mouth open, she specifically brought in a psychologist to treat Stan. At first, Stan was very resistant to the therapy and tried to sneak away several times, but he was forcefully stopped by Francine every time. Thanks to Francine's persistence, the treatment finally worked. Stan not only became extremely talkative, sharing his past experiences with Francine anytime and anywhere, but he even held nothing back and dropped a shocking secret.
I killed your best friend's husband.
What?
Yeah, I killed him. He's dead. CIA made me do it.
From then on, Francine avoided Stan's sharing like the plague. It has to be said, she totally shot herself in the foot with this one. Steve is such an unlucky kid. He kindly picked up an injured kitten on the street, only to get scratched by it in return. In a fit of rage, he grabbed his cello and smashed it at the cat, but he was just too weak. Not only did he fail to hurt the cat, but he also ended up injuring himself badly. To make matters worse, Haley killed his pet bee and refused to apologize. Fueled by anger, Steve carefully plotted a revenge plan for his bee. However, when he released the bees to sting Haley, an extremely awkward scene unfolded. The bee swarmed around and stung only him crazily.
Your brother's weird.
Stan wanted to publish an issue of Stan magazine, but the bank refused to give him a loan, so he turned his attention to the inheritance left to him by Grandma Barry. After racking his brains, he finally secured Barry's financial investment.
I gave you $600. Great!
With the funding in place, Stan finalized the magazine every day based on his new look, but when he held the magazine launch event, not a single person showed up. Just like that, Stan's first business venture ended in failure. Not only that, he was also left with a huge debt. The lumberjack competition was about to start, but Stein was so unskilled that no one wanted to team up with him. He had no choice but to partner with Jeff, whom he looked down on. On the day of the competition, Stein was full of confidence, but the axe he swung was bounced right back by the wood. Jeff quickly took over for Stein. Watching Jeff's skilled technique, Stein marveled. After that,
Oh my god, this Fister guy is better than me!
the weak Stein won the competition thanks to Jeff. However, to everyone's surprise, the selfish Stein dumped Jeff as soon as he was done using him.
That's a real D-bag move.
Francine wanted a divorce from Stan. The reason was simply that he was too busy with work and ignored her feelings. In an attempt to save his marriage, Stan decided to take Francine whitewater rafting to relax. However, Stan kept working non-stop during the trip, which deeply disappointed Francine. The consequence of her disappointment was running away from home.
Have you seen Francine?
Francine left you!
Francine left me?
Francine was gone. Stan finally realized his mistake, but it was too late to make things right. Steve was determined to become the cool kid at school, so he turned to Roger for help. Roger suggested he pick on an easy target to establish his reputation by bullying someone weaker, so Steve found a little girl.
Yeah, what? It's Steve's hallway!
The principal saw Steve bullying a female classmate and immediately punched him in the face. Steve's plan to become cool failed, and he ended up covered in injuries. I guess he'll study hard from now on and stop thinking about these things that just get him beaten up. Roger received a letter notifying him of a safety deposit box that hadn't been opened in years, urging him to handle it promptly. Suspecting it might contain some forgotten treasure, he immediately called to inquire. However, he was told that only a special key from back then could unlock it. Determined to retrieve this huge fortune, Roger rummaged through every corner of his house. Finally, in an old chest, he found the matching key. He rushed to the bank and opened the box full of anticipation. However, all that lay inside was a completely worthless old record.